So today, we come to you alive from Georgia. We're back in Georgia.
Why do you use the word alive?
Getting ready to record. We got a little special guest here. What's on that one?
I don't know if it's an ant or a spider. I'm not really willing to find out. Looks like a spider, but its body looks like an ant.
Homeboy's just chilling.
I don't know, is it a spider or an ant? It moves like a spider.
See if I can get. I mean, it's not a spider.
It doesn't look like an ant. That's a spider.
No, that's an ant. It only has 6 legs.
I've never seen an ant like that before.
And that looks like a tick. Is that a tick?
No. This is not a tick.
The red tick.
It's not a tick.
What is it?
You've never seen a tick before in your life, then, I'm guessing. That's not a tick.
What is that? Chigger?
No.
What is it?
Little red spider.
That's not a spider. Everything can't be spiders.
There's another little something crawling. Look.
There's a lot going on right here.
There is. I don't miss Georgia wildlife.
The next episode of National Geographic. Because they'll think I said live.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
They'll be like, live? This isn't live. No, I said alive. Which is very important that we listen and pay attention to what is being said, what is being shared, what is being broadcast. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not just America either. Other countries are facing their own challenges, and this includes Finland.
Okay.
What we have to realize, I think, is very important that we realize is that these people are just that, people, with desires and emotion and challenges that they face in their lives, choices and decisions that they have to make. Finland PM announces divorce after she's spotted grinding with man in raunchy club video.
PM as Prime Minister. Okay. Why is the Prime Minister in a raunchy club? Is my first question.
That's a good question.
And why did her husband let her go? Well, I say let her go to a raunchy club by herself, but girls' night, I guess.
That's a good question. We'll got a little video here. We'll have to redact the audio because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I think it's Akon. I think she's grinding the Akon or T-Pain. I don't know.
Which is interesting. I was going to say something else, but never mind. Because she's of legal age, and generally Akon and grinding go with underage girls, but that's fine. And
it says footage showed the two dancing closely. Why is the Prime Minister at a nightclub?
Because she still wants to have fun. I mean, just because you have a certain title as your job doesn't mean that you no longer want to have fun or enjoy life or anything like that.
If you can't make good choices in your own life, how can you make good choices for the country that you're supposed to represent?
Now, I haven't seen any of this, but just her dancing with somebody doesn't mean she's made a bad choice.
Comments about being kissed on the neck by some other
guy. Never mind, that's
done. She says it's true that I'm married, but she maintains that there's no drugs involved, or there were no drugs involved, despite the phrase flower gang reportedly used by someone in the background of the video, which may have been in reference to cocaine.
Oh. Also, if a guy walks up behind her and kisses her on her neck unknowingly, how is that her fault?
She also, she knows the guy, and they filed for her husband filed for divorce now, and she's going to go with this guy.
So I'm asking questions based off not having that knowledge. I'm asking questions based off so you're telling me a woman went to a club and was dancing with somebody and some guy kissed her on the neck. And
I'm telling you, an elected
I mean?
official was in a nightclub grinding on some dude with people in the background spewing street slang for recreational drug use. And she's also condemned calls for her to take a drug test as it's inappropriate.
Oh.
She's the world's youngest prime minister to take office at age 34. And she announced that her and her husband of 19 years are seeking a divorce. And they have filed divorce.
So what I hear is she's 34. been married 19 years. So she got married, in theory, before she knew who she was, what she wanted, any of that other stuff.
What I hear is that poor choices and decisions have been made, whether it's by voting, by election, by corporate appointment. Maybe we need to really step back and pay attention and focus on who's in charge.
But here's my question. How does her divorce have anything to do with how well she runs the country or not?
I'm not saying that she isn't running the country well or wasn't running the country well or anything like that, but I am saying that there is an increase in the amount of questionable activities that are being discussed amongst some of these people in power. Now, granted, Bud Light doesn't control the nation and the country, or maybe they do, or they did, but poor choices were made. Poor choices were made here. Perhaps maybe she was too young for the job, for the role, for the position. Maybe we shouldn't be so focused on setting new records and breaking, and a new precedent of the first.
What's
the
interesting?
The youngest.
I swear I'm allergic to Georgia air. What's interesting is that you say Bud Light made poor choices. Now, as the Anheuser-Busch made poor choices, but as the people that those choices were meant to include, they don't see them as poor choices.
Well,
it's somebody who's not in that group that sees it as a poor choice. When you lose like $8 gajillion in market share, and you ultimately put the company on the path of bankruptcy, like, I think that was a poor choice. Okay.
I think that was a poor choice.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about social versus business. We're talking about, a country and their...
exactly, social versus business.
But it's still...
You're talking about her social.
Yeah.
How does that affect her business?
Well, the business would be the country. And if she can't make good choices and have sound judgment and not be grinding up on some dude in a nightclub while she's married to another man and potentially a part of this flower gang, I think that's a poor choice.
I agree. Poor personal choice, but I still don't see how it relates to country choice. I mean, you want to go that way. Trump and everything he's going through, poor personal choices, right. Yet people want him for president still. So they're looking at his poor social choices, personal choices, and going, that's totally different than his business choices as a president.
I don't know if people...
we don't like this, but we'll allow this.
I don't know if people really want him as president.
I think a lot of people still do.
So hang on one second, because he's next.
Oh.
After this.
I have no idea.
Because another country, Canada, or
Canada.
Canada, as Tucker Carlson would say, Canada. They are out of the crypto game as far as Binance is concerned, and Binance is preemptively pulled out of Canada, citing regulatory tension. So all you Bitcoin and XRP fans out there, beware.
Beware.
This is the beginning, but it's also the end. But it's a part of a much, much bigger picture here. And that is that ultimately we're being manipulated and lied to on a daily basis. But now we have to then pick and choose which lie we want to be the truth. Which lie we want to follow, which lie we want to align with. And your ability to make that choice and decision as you once knew it, it's not really what it used to be.
Give me more.
So there was a Trump rally, hosted, sponsored, if you will, by CNN.
Which is surprising to me.
Exactly.
You would think it would have been sponsored and hosted by Fox.
Exactly. Now, what I'm going to share with you is from the Washington Post. So now we've got a Republican former president, potential presidential candidate 2024 on a majority Democratic fan-based news network who is, in my opinion, and quite possibly the opinion of others, desperate for ratings, desperate for views,
yeah,
desperate for watch eyes. And we think about Fox News and Tucker Carlson being fired for speaking the truth. But this is the Washington Post, and we can see what side they lean to. But
I was going to say maybe Fox didn't want him on there because...
I don't think it's that they didn't want him. I think it's because CNN did.
And whoever paid more.
And CNN was ultimately trying to create news, create virality, create ratings. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know by now, it's all about the money.
Profit over people.
It's all about the money.
Different term, but.
So it says that CNN's propelled a tsunami of criticism from inside and outside the network, and renewed questions about how the news media will handle the challenge of covering the serial falsehoods of the Republican Party's leading candidate going into the 2024 election. Questions from CNN's moderator, Caitlin Collins. She was the one who hosted this. And there's a mention here that he doubled down on false claims that a rigged election led to his 2020 ouster, and referred to writer E. Jean Carroll, who just prevailed in her lawsuit against him for defamation and battery, called her a whack job, for which the crowd cheered and laughed. The audience made up of local Republican voters. Why would CNN host a town hall Trump rally and fill the audience with Republicans? Why would CNN
increase
do
their
that?
ratings, to get more people watching, to create more controversy, to get more CNN talk?
It says when Collins was pressed him on why he removed classified documents from the White House, he replied, "You're a nasty person." Sounds like something like Ron Burgundy would say.
Yeah.
I love scotch. Scotch. I gotta pull up this slide so that you can see what they said, because as I said, we can tell who wrote this and what side they're on, but there's a bigger problem here besides just that. And it says here that predictably disastrous is what they're describing this, and part of a chorus of media critics and political observers who bemoan the on-air spectacle. Live lying works. A friendly MAGA crowd consistently claps at Trump's punchlines, and the moderator cannot begin to keep up with the AR-15 pace of lies. AR-15 pace of lies. Really? This is how, why would we choose AR-15 pace of lies?
Because the push is to get rid of AR-15, and if you start to equate that with lies and Trump and stuff like that as a Democrat that you don't like, then...
But will the people identify? Will they understand that this is what's being done, how they're being manipulated? And an AR-15 fires really no faster than any other semi-automatic firearm. An AR-15 is not a fully automatic weapon.
But just AR-15 is much easier to say than whatever the other ones are.
An AR-15 is available to the public to purchase and buy. And this being written by the Washington Post wants to paint a picture of just how bad this really is.
Yeah, that too.
Because my AR-15s are bad. My AR-15s are dangerous. My AR-15s, actually, no, they don't.
They don't do anything because you're not a bad person.
I haven't even fired my AR-15 yet. It hasn't seen one round go through the chamber.
No, a gun can't hurt people. The person with their finger on the trigger is the only one who can hurt people.
But how many people are going to pick up on that when they see this, when they hear this, when they read this, when they ingest and consume this media, these lies? And it's not even the left versus right, Fox versus CNN. It's getting so convoluted. It's like the movie where the double cross ends up turning into the triple cross by the quadruple agent. Yeah. Working for the CIA.
And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, I have no clue what I just watched.
Works for the CIA, works for SAS works for, MI6, like everybody.
MI6.
So it says here that at a time when CNN has been struggling to turn around viewership and its decline, the telecast proved to be a ratings disappointment, with Nielsen reporting just 3.1 million views overall.
Well, I mean, you got to think, most Democrats do not like Trump as a human, so why would they want to tune in to watch him talk?
But they are struggling for viewership. Mm-hmm. So they were like, let's try it. Try it
and see what happens.
Still didn't work. And it says that was a big boost over CNN's typical telecast. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it did help.
It helped them some.
But it was a smaller audience than CNN's town hall with President Biden last summer, which is 3.7 million, and the 6 previous Trump town halls hosted by Fox News.
Well, obviously Fox News is going to have a much bigger turnout for Republicans because, I mean, you can't.
Well, but they're setting the stage here. This is the Washington Post. They're setting the stage here because then it says, calling into question both CNN and Trump's drawing power. So they throw CNN under the bus because a competitive network, but then they throw Trump under the bus saying that he doesn't quite have the power that he used to, as they continue to take this jab at the right. Mm-hmm. The more profound impact, however, may be the damage done to the reputation of the network that has long promoted itself as the most trusted name in news.
Well, okay, so then look at it from the other side. Why would there be damage done? Because they showed you what Trump is like. So why would that be damage done?
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
This, after CNN was supposed to be striking a more neutral tone at a cable channel that exploded with impassioned commentary during the Trump years, they try to have a neutral, unbiased, bipartisan opinion, reporting style maybe. Journalists at CNN and other outside the organization called the town hall a debacle, a disaster, and CNN's lowest moment. Trending on social media now is boycott CNN, done with CNN and buy CNN.
I wonder if the same thing would happen if Fox News brought Biden on.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Depends on Biden's script writers. Because Trump doesn't read scripts.
No, he doesn't. They should probably give him some.
He doesn't read scripts, and that is part of the problem. But I still got to ask the question, who comes up with this shit? Because the Washington Post, I pulled this from their publication. The thrust of the criticism is that CNN's format, which it has used for other candidates over the years, enabled Trump's filibustering and thwarted real-time fact-checking, allowing him to present a dishonest rehashing of his record. In terms of sheer control of the stage and, again, who comes up with this shit? In terms of sheer control of the stage and WWE-style platform dynamics.
Somebody young.
The horrible truth is that this outcome was preordained.
That's why I said they wanted him on there so that he could look a certain way, so that Democrats and Republicans who tuned in to watch it would see him in the light they wanted to see him in.
That's just it. If CNN is supposed to be the neutral, most trusted name in news, why are they setting this up? Why are they setting this up? Why are they not just reporting the news instead of trying to create the news, create the trend, create the conversation, create the virality?
Maybe because there isn't enough conversation about the candidates or about...
Well, that's the problem. If that's the case, then they're only chasing views and they're only chasing money and they're not chasing truth and honesty and transparency.
Well, maybe that was their version of showing you truth and honesty and transparency. Here's the truth of how Trump talks. Here's the honest,
I got it.
version.
You're right. Let's provide you with the truth of how Trump talks and fill the audience with a bunch of Trump supporters so that when he says something out of line, they clap and applaud so you think that it's good. because we know that most people are incapable of making their own decisions for themselves, and it's all based on what the news and the media presents to them.
Very true.
We know that.
Yeah. I haven't watched it, so I don't.
I didn't watch it either.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it either. I'm just saying, like, this, the way it's been set up is there's a clear message being sent about the reason, the purpose behind it, the agenda, the end result, the goal that they wanted.
Now, if you read an article from the other side.
Oh, we're gonna get there.
Okay, I was about to say, because then they're going to say this was a great triumph for Republicans and whatever else.
No, it's even better than that. It's even better than that. So, Washington Post says that we did it wrong, according to CNN. We did it wrong. We treated him like a normal politician who could be fact-checked, and we ended up dancing around a demagogue. You put a known, manipulative, lying, I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, because Chris Igo made a video yesterday or the day before about it not being fair. Mm-hmm. And this is not fair. But there's a difference in things being fair, which we know this world isn't fair, and having an advantage. And if Trump's advantage is the fact that he can just shoot off at the mouth without being fact-checked, it's not fair, but it is what it is.
It's especially not fair if you don't let the other candidates do the same thing.
But they can't, because we've seen what happens when Biden goes off script.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
They can't. Trump can do this, and it work in his advantage. Mm-hmm. If Biden were to try it, it would work against him.
Very true. He'd forget what to talk about, and it'd be ice cream and how good.
For those of you who don't know what a demagogue is, a demagogue or ramble rouser is a political leader in a democracy who gains popularity by arousing the common people against elites, especially through oratory that whips up the passions of crowds. Oratory. It's like using optic instead of visual.
Yeah.
Oratory instead of verbal. That's cool. By definition, a political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than by using rational argument. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to YouTube. The YouTube algorithm is literally based on this basic principle.
I agree.
Of seeking support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than by using rational argument. Think about it. Mm-hmm. Think about it. And this is only getting worse. Now, Tucker Carlson is quite possibly on the verge of maybe being a truth speaker. Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see. And I will do my best to tell you what I think about what he's doing based on the information that's available that I can use to try to decipher the code. But I can tell you guys right now, left, right, blue, red, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, USA Today, Washington Post, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. They are lying to everyone. Mm-hmm. I know this is going to be unpopular, but I feel as though it's my job to tell you guys the truth I see it.
The truth is unpopular. That's why so many people would rather be lied to.
The truth is a lie, unfortunately. Now that you know that, what do you do with the truth or the lies that you've been given? You think, like, think Social Security. Mm-hmm. Social Security is a lie. Mm-hmm. Because you think that it's going to be there for you. You think it's going to help support you in retirement years. Yeah. And that's not true.
The odds are very small.
It's a lie. Now that you know that the truth is a lie, what are you going to do? Think about, I don't know, people creating content, sharing stories and information, passing it off as truth, or at least not telling you that it's not, mm-hmm. making you believe that it's possible to survive living below the poverty line. It is not possible to survive living below the poverty line for the average person.
Something will have to give, either your health, your...
Nope. Man. If anyone were to tell you that they could live below the poverty line, it is purposely withholding valuable information.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that they are not in poverty.
Yeah.
It just means that they can live below the line.
Yeah.
And that line is, you know, a few, like a little over $1,000 a month for a single person.
But it's easy to do that when everything you have is already paid off and you're not really paying anything.
Exactly. So if everything you have is paid off, or everything you have was given to you, or, you know,
it's
if everything you have was inherited, and you make substantial amounts of money and income through your job, through your side hustles, through Amazon affiliates, maybe through some book sales, maybe through YouTube content creation or anything like that, then we can provide this false narrative that I'm one of you. We're all poor together. I'm living below the line of poverty.
Yeah.
No, you just
choosing.
managed to get your expenses below that line because you've had substantial amounts of money and income and dividends and passive income streams coming in.
Kevin, where'd the frog go?
Completely misguiding those watching, thinking that this is possible. It's right there.
Where?
On the brick.
Okay.
But it is not possible without further clarification.
Yeah.
So if we choose to omit, if we choose to speak in code and circles and choose when we say things and the inflection and pausing and editing a video, you're gonna knock that off.
Oh, I didn't know that moving touched that, sorry.
Then essentially we're lying. And those who do it best are some of the biggest channels out there, biggest news networks out there. And you think that you are aligning yourself with like-minded individuals. You think you're aligning yourself with truth. They're all doing it. Washington Post says that it should have been a taped interview where you could fact check it. And in his meeting with staff, Litch defended the decisions that led to a cheering, partisan audience. That was also an important part of the story because the people in the audience represent a large swath of America. And the mistake the media made in the past is ignoring these people exist. So you're telling me 400 Republican Trump supporters is a large swath of America?
Oh, sorry, I can't.
Like, this is what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Now, Fox News, on the other hand, says that they don't take the stance of what Trump did was wrong. They also don't take the stance of what Trump did was right.
Yeah.
They just kind of dance.
They don't
around
take a stance.
And they then throw the attention and the blame and this CNN reporter under the bus. And they say that he was scolded for being too emotional in the Trump town hall and visibly shaken with this coverage. Fox News Digital confirmed that Darcy was summoned for a meeting with Litch and other top CNN executives who took exception to the overzealous framing of the fallout the network has received, particularly from liberals. So their plan, much like Anheuser-Busch's plan, Bud Light, much like Finland, much like all these other poor choices and decisions, has backfired.
Yeah.
So now CNN not only looks like the news station you can't trust, they're also the news station that allows, mistruths and disinformation to be spread and applauded and cheered on by the crowd that they brought in. They also lost the faith and the backing of those liberals that once looked to that network.
Yeah.
With Anderson Cooper then trying to save face and tell people that they can stop watching if they want. But Darcy says, or Litch said that it can't be based on emotion. It's got to be based on fact. And apparently Darcy got emotional, so they say, during this coverage. And they say, a source says that they received a ton of messages from CNN staffers appalled by Darcy's newsletter, which emphasizes how CNN and Litch were facing tense backlash internally as well as externally. The message, according to sources, were like, what the f***
Do they write that? Oh, yeah.
It's hard to see how America, we're in trouble here now, folks. It's hard to see how America has served by this spectacle of lies that aired on CNN Wednesday evening. He complained about how Trump lied, this is Darcy, about various topics during the town hall despite attempted fact checks by CNN moderator Caitlin Collins, yet CNN aired it all. So, Darcy is emotional and upset with the choices that the network made, allowing this to be broadcast without being recorded or fact-checked, only to then receive backlash from his employer, scolded for having emotion instead of going with the flow and trying to mislead the public, the audience that trust him. On and on it went. It felt like 2016 all over again. It was Trump's unhinged social media feed brought to life on stage, and Collins was put in an uncomfortable position given the town hall was conducted in front of a Republican audience that applauded Trump, giving a sense of unintended endorsement to his shameful antics. This is what Darcy said. Yes, some news was made, but for the most of the night, the nation's eyes were transfixed on Trump's abuse of the platform that he was given. Meanwhile, liberals rage over CNN's disgusting Trump town hall. This insanity should be pulled from the air. CNN anchor Anderson Cooper attempted to defend the town hall while blasting the former president as well as the network's critics. Quite possibly the ones who were able to see through the BS. Cooper, you have every right to be outraged and angry and never watch this network again. But do you think staying in your silo and only listening to people you agree with is going to make that person go away? So, in conclusion, Fox News just makes CNN look bad. They don't address what Trump said or didn't say or fact check or anything like that. But the problem is that now Fox News is just going to highlight what CNN did just to make them look bad, but not actually try to provide the truth.
Or anything that has anything to do with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about
We're not going to talk about the meat and potatoes. We're going to talk about that one vegetable over in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, and then anyone who's against that gets reprimanded, no matter what side you're on.
Yeah.
So Anderson Cooper says, you have every right to be outraged and angry and never watch this network again. But do you think staying in your silo and only listening to people you agree with is going to make that person go away?
I would rather hear the side I don't agree with and the side I do agree with so I can have like an actual opinion of stuff.
And this is quite possibly exactly why we created our Patreon and why we have these discussions and tough conversations and deep dives, because we're not going to agree with everyone on everything.
No.
Then
they're not going to agree with us.
But we shouldn't then misrepresent it and pretend like it didn't happen or like we don't see it or we'll just listen to somebody else. But we also need to understand and realize that whoever else we're listening to could potentially be lying to us as well.
It's very true.